I sail to the temple where the gods have gathered, to gaze at their faces in deep pools. In my boat, the souls of the years sail with me. Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, happy time zones wherever you are. Welcome back to the House of Hubris, here on twitch.tv/Sextant. And welcome to something new. Before I get started, can I just say thanks to Charities Lady with the 11-month resub. Music is louder than my voice. Yes, I thought it was up a bit loud. I will fix that once I get in game, because I'd have to tab out of it to get to my own sliders. It's fine. Let me do that. So you can all, see what I'm about to be playing. That's more like it. As ever, let me know if it's too low or anything. But hey, here we are. But yes, thanks so much for 11 months of subscription, which is a really weirdly large amount. Yes. So welcome everyone, as you can see, to Heaven's Vault. Why weirdly? Because A, it's weird that I've been doing this consistently for that long, and B, it's weird that anybody would be supporting it consistently for that long, but hey. Yes. A little bit about this first. If anyone who's talked to me for more than 5 minutes has probably heard me go on a weird tangent about linguistics. It is a very big interest of mine. Yeah. And also, if you were watching a few of my other playthroughs, Sun of the Skies especially, and also just talking to me in general, you'll know that I'm very into kind of interesting reinterpretations of history. So this is a game that combines the two. This is Heaven's Vault, a game about being an archaeological linguist. It's about archaeological linguistics. It's weird. I hate that there's not really a separate word used for like somebody who studies linguistics as opposed to somebody who studies language. Like, logically it should be like linguistician, but here we are. Full disclosure, it says first playthrough on the channel. I have played a bunch of this before, like Steam reckons 10 hours, but A, I remember it being really buggy on my old machine, and also that was many years ago when this was new. Like 6 years ago, something like that. So I remember almost none of it. So really, we're all going on an adventure together. All that preamble aside, should we just get into it? See, I'm sitting in front of the action. Wait, no, other way. There are people coming up from this
Stories
corner.
don't have tidy beginnings. The past is always present. But there has to be a spark. Something that brings the past to light.
Please, climb carefully. It's not much further. One last corner. We're almost... Is it me or is the background ambiance still up really loud? Actually, I might just tweak that down a touch. Yeah, switch all the volumes down. Why do we not have a master volume button? I mean, honestly. That's more like it. At the top. Take a moment to rest before you walk, mistress, please. Okay, so we have an external camera, which is a slightly strange viewpoint, but hey. And we can walk. Although currently we are more trudging, because I assume that's our stamina bar at the top. Let's go and investigate this brick-top opening, shall we? A brick-top opening. There is something here. To keep people out, do you think? Or to keep something in? Did it have a text speed slider? Yes, it did. Me, spend ages on a text-based game, fiddling about with the dialogue speed. Who could have seen that coming? There's something written here. Ancient script. It must have been cut in when the mortar was still wet, but I think I can read it. I think it says Heaven's Vault. University of Eox, some weeks earlier. Also, I've forgotten how good the music is in this. This is lovely.
My story begins on Iox.
Iox, okay.
That was where I met the robot.
Mistress Aaliyah? Mistress Aaliyah Elazra. I have been waiting for you. I have been asked to escort you to Professor Miari. She is very anxious for your arrival. So here, I can find the timeline. Here's now. 30 seconds ago, we visited Iox. And we know that... Oh, this is touchy controls. About 4 hours ago, Professor Miari wanted me back on Iox. And this is all in the modern age. And also, we know... We have about 950 to 350 years ago, the Holy Ioxian Empire was based out of the Imperial Palace and ruled by a deified emperor. We also have periods marked for the Ancient Empire and the Ancient Time. Can't read anything more about them, though. We have things here. The Crown of Iox was forged. According to legend, it was made for the first Empress herself, about 570 odd years ago. About 350 years ago, the last Emperor disappears. Iox fell to invaders and the Empire was destroyed, but the Emperor himself escaped. His body was never found. And the crown of the Iox Empire was lost, and we had the fall of Iox. The Emperor's palace was stormed, the royal family murdered, the guard ship destroyed, and the nebula fell into disarray for centuries. The Fallers established power on Iox, destroyed the Empire, but never extended their reach beyond Iox. Generations passed in obscurity as we pass into the Dark Age. The Loop Temple, the Loop Faith of the Holy Empire, is revived on Iox. 200 years ago, the University of Iox established, founded to study the events within the Loop. It soon expanded to cover robotics, mathematics, hopper physics, and other fields. And then, 175 years ago, the Iox Protectorate was founded, initially encompassing only Elbereth and Iox. It soon expands to incorporate other moons. And then we come into the modern age. My birth, 33 years ago. I don't know the true date. The Grey Ladies gave me a day, different from the other children in the orphanage. As we enter the period, the Grey Ladies orphanage. The Grey Ladies raised me and found me work from the moment I could walk. Meeting Oroi and I became friends. Sneaking around the hall, she stole screwdrivers and I stole books. When I was like 4. 20 years ago, I met Timur. I would later work for Timur in his bar, washing up and fetching supplies. Miari visits the orphanage in Elbereth 18.5 years ago. My first kiss, 18 and a bit years ago. We never thought we'd leave the orphanage. adulthood seemed impossibly far away. But then, less than a year later, Miari takes me to IOX. It was on IOX that my tuition began in earnest. I worked for Timor for, like, 8 years. Timor always had another job for me and another reason for me to stay around. Ori sets up her workshop 16 some years ago. Ori's daughter was born nearly 14 years ago. She named her after me. I joined the university, began to study formally in the same group as Huang 13 years ago. I met Tappy 12 years ago. Ori introduced me to him. He helped her to get started after I left Elbreth, providing her with tools and simple projects. The Nightingale 9.5 years ago. The ship was resting, half repaired, in an abandoned hall in Elbreth. For the longest time, I didn't tell Miari I had her. 9 years ago, Ori's son was born. He works for Timor, I think. Lots of Elbrethians do. And then, a few months later, Ori helped her launch the Nightingale. Would never have got it up into the rivers without Ori's advice, but she didn't want to come with me, of course. 4.5 years ago, I got my third robot, but there were definitely problems with this one. Sure enough, a few months later, 3 breaks down. Every robot I've owned has gone wrong or been lost, but 3 was worse than most. And, like, weeks after that, Ori buys 3. I never told Miari what happened to 3. And then we just skip ahead to now. So, there's our timeline of everything that has happened in our life and also the history of the region in the last 4,000 years. There you go, just speed run some world building there. Here's the nebula. It's large. God, I've forgotten how large it is. Can I zoom out? I can. We have a few places marked. Iox, Elbreth, Mercy, Renaki. Renaki is a market moon, far outside the reach of Iox. I've never been there. Mercy is a moon in the Iox Protectorate, but that's all I know about it. Then why is it marked on your map? Elbreth is my home. It's where I moor up when I want to sleep well. But not today. And sure, why not round it out? Miari wanted to see me about something. She seemed to think it was urgent. Okay, but we're not actually telling me anything about Iox. Sure. Anyway, should we get back to the actual story now that I've done a ton of world building that you have no reason to care about? And who are you? I am a robot, mistress. As is apparent. This way. I love how the stairs have ramps integrated. Do you have a name, robot? Is that intended to be a joke, mistress? No. Robots do not have names. We are, as I understand it, interchangeable. Yeah, I've known a few robots. They're all a little different. How kind of you to say so, mistress. Did Miari say what she wanted? Yes. She said she wanted you. This way. You should know that the professor's urgency was remarkable. Maybe we should keep her waiting. Don't want her making a habit of impatience. I cannot recommend that course, mistress. Reply? Have I got a promotion? With respect, mistress, I think that is most unlikely. Just keep asking questions. Why is Miari's room so far from everything? I imagine she enjoys her view of the tree, mistress. I am sure it is most pleasing to her. Cool, let's immediately ignore the main path. Oh, it's so mad. Aaliyah. Oh, get into my office this instant! Professor, is that you? Get in here, or I'll tell the dockers to slash the ropes on your precious ship. Oh, now you can just FaceTime me through the robot. Apologies for shouting, mistress. I must replicate tonal patterns when delivering messages. Alright, so it's just the tones, not the voice. Do you think she would do it? Cut the nightingale adrift? She would like me to impress on you the idea that she would. Not answering my question, but fair enough.
I was 15 when my Ari rescued me from the slums of Elbereth and brought me here. I'd never seen such luxury or such kindness.
So yes, as past events are mentioned, they turn up there in the bottom right, which I've just realised is right where I am. Let me pause this a second and shift my... That's better. If things are going to turn up in the bottom right, then I shouldn't. I deserve to play a good game after the Zero Escape series. Why, thank you. And yeah, that was the plan. Let's go to my Ari's office.
I still don't know why she did it.
Professor Mayari? Aaliyah, there you are. Come in. I came as soon as I got your message. You don't need to flatter me, Aaliyah. Nonetheless, I'm glad you came. I know your work is important to you. My work's important to everyone. Professor. Well, today it's important to me. You're our expert on history. Tell me what you make of this. It's a brooch. Yes, Aaliyah. I didn't summon you halfway across the nebula to tell me that. Well, it's suddenly old, I'm a historian. Empire period. The device is the Eagle and Sun. One of the scholars sent this brooch to me. Jiniku Renba. Did you know him? And now it's been marked on our thing. On our timeline. It is roughly 480, sorry, I can't count, years old. Clearly an Empire period piece. Did I know him? Look at the detail before I throw you out. I see them. Ancient markings. I know they're a hobby of yours, Aaliyah, but can you read them? I've never seen either of these groupings before, but the two words have some common elements, so they must have related meanings. Which, I mean, not necessarily true of languages in general, but I'm prepared to accept that for any given language, especially one where it's like specific logographic groupings of characters kind of relate by meaning rather than spelling or anything. That's fine. I mean, I'm given that the only options we've got to work with here are friend and holy. Yes, so anyway, this is the main mechanic of the game, other than walking around talking to people, is deciphering historical inscriptions. They have made a complete written language for this game. It is self-consistent and follows a bunch of actual linguistic rules. But I've forgotten basically all of it since I played this before. But I mean, if we're translating it, if we're kind of glossing it directly like this, I would assume it follows the same word order as English. So I'm guessing holy. Ah, you get different possibilities. Oh no, you don't get different possibilities, but you get different ones for each word. So we know that these must be related semantically, just from the fact that you've got that, and then they're repeated here. There's a few different radicals there. Like, we don't have that one here, we don't have this one here. But the one that I would say is most semantically related to holy would probably be emperor. This is, of course, assuming a certain amount of a particular way of viewing the ruling classes. These are marked with question marks because they're us making it up as we go along, but, you know, we'll get there. Holy Emperor? But I'm only guessing. What's this about? Janiki told me he'd found something. That was more than a month ago. Oh yeah, timeline did say a deified ruler, didn't it? Janiki isn't like you. He's an Ioxian through and through. So call him. I can't. Wherever he is, he's on his own. Not everyone is required to travel with a robot. I can't go hunting the nebula for missing people, Aaliyah. But you can. Yeah, fine, where did he go? He told me he was going to a moon called Mercy. I want you to find him. That's what you do, isn't it? Find things. I can now visit Mercy. Fine, I'll see what I can dig up. Get out of my office, you Elberethian rat. You're taking the robot with you. Come on, robot. Not welcome here. You are not welcome, mistress. Be seeing you, Aaliyah. I love how that goes in my timeline. I annoyed my Ari. Doesn't seem to matter how I treat her, she still puts up with me. I love just the concept of having a timeline here that goes in so much granularity from, like, the last minute. Scroll out, scroll out, scroll out. To the last... well, it bounces back after a certain point, but to the last 5,000 odd years. I just think that's neat. Why does she hate us? I don't know if she hates us. I think we're more just annoying. How do you feel that went, mistress? Fine. It went fine. And will we go to Mercy, mistress? What do you think? Professor Mayari is my primary user. You might say I am biased. Let's question that. Have you been to Mercy, robot? No, mistress. It is a moon of little importance, I believe. So why would this Remba go there? I have no idea, mistress. Remba was a roboticist. Mercy has no robots, as far as I am aware. No robots. Sounds very nice. Robots are very rare, mistress. Most of the nebula is not graced by our presence. I love how you can just keep talking. So why am I graced by your presence, robot? A measure of the faith Mayari puts in you, mistress. I'm sure. I'm less sure. I am less sure. Anything interesting around here? Does not look like it. Yes, you can't see it because now I've moved myself in front of it. Should we go down, mistress? Can I just say, Mistress Aaliyah, it is wonderful to be accompanying you. Oh yeah? And why is that? I find humans fascinating, and you are very different to most here. I have only recently been activated. I'm calling you Six. Six, mistress. I shall remember that. Abrupt change of subject. Wonder if I got Mayari's translation correct. I think I did. The shape shows this is an empire piece. And occasionally, yes, it will say, yes, you did get this right. But this is just based on your best judgment as a linguist. So yes, this almost certainly means emperor. And the emperors believe themselves to be gods, so it makes sense that the words would be almost the same. So this probably means holy. But it still doesn't tell me... Where did this thing come from? Yes, thing we didn't see. I can press T, and it specifically goes to my inscriptions timeline, where it's marked getting the brooch and learning the words for emperor and holy. Ask more questions. So, where did they find you, Six? Me, mistress. Like most robots and ions, I was chipped carefully free from concrete wall on the lower levels. Huh. You were buried down there? Indeed. I understand it to be not uncommon to find robots that way. We occur, I am told, like potatoes. Someone put you there? Most likely. I do not know. I cannot remember. Robots are like potatoes, you heard it here first. Nah, I've seen enough of my eye for today. Okay, yes, I didn't actually want to go over there, I just wanted to talk to Six about the sculpture. What do you think of the sculpture? It has a pleasing balance to it. I agree. Mayari must like it too. She has a model just like it on her desk. Okay. Aaliyah, tell me, are you still wasting your time on your curious notions of history? History isn't mine, I didn't make it. It belongs to everybody. Most of us are decent people, Aaliyah, and do not want it. You should devote yourself to a real science. Metallics, maybe. Loop philosophy. History is a science. It's the exploration of the past. Through evidence and theory. Honestly. Wow. Most people think you will not be content until you have unearthed your own skull. Good faith to you, Aaliyah. May the waters light your way. Yes, there's some interesting philosophy going on in this game that I'd largely forgotten about. I really hate her. Understandable, mistress. I can remark. They don't even believe in history here. They think the past and the future are the same thing. Like time was a loop. Like time was a clock face, mistress. It is quite rational. No, that's not how anything works. Do you believe it? Of course not. The great loop goes against all observable properties of time, not to mention basic entropy. But I have observed humans do not find contradictions hard to accept. That is true. That certainly is. Contradictions like what? Like you, mistress. You dislike robots and you rely on them. You are interested in history, yet you ignore your own. You are interested in people, and yet you prefer to be alone. There's a difference between academic and emotional enjoyment, but yeah. Isn't everyone like that, though? Evidently not. Really? 6. What do you know about the Loop Temple? I know little of the loop, mistress. The loop priests claim that life is a great cycle. They believe that all that happens has happened before. And will happen again. Indeed, mistress. Past is future, and future past. Is it true? The probability of it is incalculable, mistress. There is no meaningful data. That's how most philosophical discussions end up, eventually. Aaliyah! So here's Wang. I didn't know you were back on IOX. I'm... Professor Mayari wants to see me. Nothing bad. Perhaps? I'm not sure. She seems to hate me slightly. She wants me to find someone. Anyone I know? Janika Remba? I know Remba, of course. Well, a little. He was a roboticist. One of the best. One of the few. Why did she send you to find him? Thought you dug things up. By the water, Celia, what's happened to Janiki? I don't know, I literally just got here. I'm sure it's nothing bad. Oh my. Before you go, it hardly seems important now, but I found a line of ancient in the annals of Mazwai I thought you might like. If you have time, that is. Always got time for linguistics. Always. Yeah, see what you think. Yeah, saying, like, why am I going after a roboticist? He thought I dug things up. Oh, yeah. I know one of these words, I'll have to guess the other two. Saying, why are we going after a roboticist? I thought we dug things up. Yeah, they dig robots up in this world, apparently. Everyone has a weird thing about archaeology and history. Yep, that's the basis of the game. So we know Empress, which is pleasingly the same formation as Emperor, so at least the ancients didn't also have a weird thing about gender. And then we have two more things. So we know that this is a past tense of a verb. We've got banished and buried. Here we have circuits, robots, labours, and rebels. I mean, banished rebels would seem to make sense, but also, given what we've been talking about, so would buried robots. I'm going to go with buried robots for now. Just because it seems... Ah, and they give you alternate glosses under the thing. That's very pleasing. It shares a character with Empress. It does. This is true. I get the feeling that might just mean person? Like a marker for a person? But then robots and rebels could both use that. So let's go with buried robots. And again, because they're question marks, we can come back to those later. Empress buried robots? I think that's correct. But I thought there weren't any robots in the Empire. This suggests otherwise. I'd better not keep you. Hope you find him. It does look like the Japanese radical person. Yes, I know. Shall we proceed to your ship now? Have you sailed before, Six? I have no idea, mistress. But I am keen to find out. And so we left the hallowed walls of the university. Here's the timeline. Emily's going to have to VOD this. Yes, I know. I realised just before we started, I've started the linguistics game, like, literally as soon as she's busy at PAX, which, frankly, rude of me, but here we are. So yeah, you get to review your timeline when you leave, so that's nice. But yes, I don't know whether it looking like the kanji for person is deliberate and has any meaning here, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. Also, you know, I don't want to do this too much based on knowledge of external languages, because, yeah, I do know enough Japanese to recognise that, but anyway. Let's just go. The setting of this is so interesting. It's very different to like most other things. Well, the Nightingale. A ship is my refuge. It's the only place that's truly mine. The journey to Mercy should be quick, mistress. Nice place, is it? I do not believe so, mistress. I believe it is a farmyard. Why would a roboticist go to a farm? To study the competition, perhaps. Or perhaps there are robots buried on Mercy. Are there? Are there robots buried on Mercy? Most likely not. It is a moon of pigs and rice, mistress. Part of the Iox Protectorate, of course. Well, maybe Mercy will have a few ruins of its own. Maybe we should have gone to Albereth first. Avoid the plot. That seems unlikely. It's not wealthy. Nonetheless, I will prepare the robes. Love whoever has these jobs to invent languages for games and movie and stuff. Yep, conlanging is a hell of a thing. So yes, there's Mercy. Should we go to Albereth first, you know, in the spirit of avoiding the main plot wherever possible? Can we not? Ah, apparently it's not letting us plot across there. Fine, we'll follow the plot. And we sail! Aoxy in space, sailing to Mercy in the Verdant Pass.
My Ari wanted us to sail to Maerzi. It was a short sail through fast waters.
Ah, it's so nice seeing... we will need to turn right shortly, mistress. 6 is also your GPS. So nice seeing this at an actually decent frame rate because it bugged to hell when... I see the force of the river is fastest in the middle, mistress. When I played it on my old machine, like, the lag was bad. On the surface it appears the same, but there are deeper currents below. What does sweep sail do again? Ah, yes, you boost forwards. But yeah, conlanging is a lot of fun. I need to get more into it sometime. Whoa, no. Here we are in the Verdant Pass. You can see where it gets the name. No, to the right. Don't get carried away by the currents. Avoid the rocks. This is your ship, mistress. What do you think? She is very beautiful, mistress. But I cannot help wondering how you came by her. Well, that's Maerzi. You can see the greenery from here. Well, okay, I guess that conversation will be kept for later. Or forgotten forever, who can say? Maerzi, a farming man. For Ember's here, I need to find him. And If he's not, I need to work out where he went.
We stepped off the ship and into the mud. Mud covered the ground.
Six isn't wrong,
rock.
it's a very nice ship.
And everywhere I looked, things were growing from the mud.
That's how plants work.
And some of those things had legs.
That's how animals work, question mark. Look at this place. Breathe the air. I cannot breathe, mistress. But rest assured I am most happy for you all the same. Are you sassing us, Six? Well then. Let's see where Amber's got to. If we're really lucky, we'll have found an old pot. We have questions we can ask. So, where do we start? There is a series of rice terraces. If we climb up, away from the water, that should take us to the village. That would be logical. There's a statue over here. Can I get to that at all? I am an archaeologist. I get professionally distracted by statues. Well, this way then. Fine, take camera control away from me. Oh, it's just why we're going between levels.
The air smelled earthy and sweet.
Would you recognize Rambo if we saw him? Did you meet him? I believe he activated me, mistress. I suspect that is why Professor Mayari assigned me to you. Curiouser. Look at her. She towers over everything. Elbereth has a statue like that. Sort of. It's just a pair of feet. Iox must approve. Although I understood they had destroyed similar statues on other moons. Also, I did not know that it's just a pair of feet thing was coming before I titled this episode after an Ozymandias quote. Can you do a scan for Janiki or something? Mistress has mistaken me for a dog. Perhaps you believe if I had a scrap of clothing, then I could trace his scent. Now you are sassing me. So how are we supposed to find him? I have visual scanners of exceptional acuity, mistress. If I see him, I will let you know. Yeah, we are most assuredly getting sassed by our robot. I don't know why they keep giving me robots. Every time I break or lose one, they give me another. It's like they're trying to get rid of them. The university cares for your well-being, mistress. Maybe so. Let's examine the statue. Bet we'll have an inscription or something. Look at this thing. Where's she from? From the material, I would judge it was not quarried here, but most likely close by. It's very big, you understand. You can't be sure? No. It has been here long enough for its various radiation signatures to have faded. Interesting. Never understood Professor Mayari. You know she brought me to Iox for an orphanage on Albereth. And now she keeps giving me robots when I keep losing them. I really don't know what she gets out of it. Perhaps she likes to be kind, mistress. Not to the robots, clearly. I'm not convinced. Oh, someone's carved something here. That's exciting. Symbols in the ancient script. Might be able to translate them. So we've got holy. These symbols remind me a little of my translation for Emperor. Okay. I've seen two similar words for this before. Okay, now, if you look at holy, take that first, what I'm assuming is a radical, off, and you get this. So I would assume it's something with a very closely semantically related meaning to holy. So I would assume this is goddess, which is, you know, going to be the same as God in this language because we don't appear to have gender markers. But then we have this. And we don't know what this is. The only reason that's coming up as a related word is because it's got this kind of comma-shaped particle, radical, whatever it is. I'm going to do the next best thing with linguistics, which is make an educated guess based on what it kind of looks like, and just, I could totally see that being an ancient pictogram for water, or derived therefrom. So let's say that. Does holy water goddess make sense? There's certainly plenty of water here. She's guarding the most precious resource, keeping it all fertile. We discussed the water goddess, and immediately chat tells me to hydrate. Identified the water goddess. Large, generous, welcoming. A goddess of fertility as well, no doubt. Plot twist, chat's the water goddess. Yeah, that drag. This is probably true, but at the same time, it's that classic thing of archaeology looking at something going, probably a fertility thing. With no particular information, just based on, largely, on the fact that historically humans have thought about sex a lot. I can remark. Can't be that many more robots left. There were a few hundred in my cohort. What's a cohort? My manufacturing branch. It is hard to explain. They're your family? I recognize myself in them. Is that the same thing? At any rate, we would all appreciate it if you took more care of your robots. Do you know, I can't see that happening. But we'll try. Oh, what's this? Almost buried in the grass. A shard of crystal. Does it mean anything to you, Six? It is most curious. This moon does not contain any crystals of this type, but the brooch Master Remba sent to the Professor does. The mineral is the same. So we kept it. What kind of crystal is it, Six? Iolite, mistress. Valueless. Perhaps we should return to the ship. Mayari told me to look, so I'm looking. Commendable, mistress, but this shard does not come from here. Yes, and also we don't have anything saying it's relevant. Do you like other robots, Six? I have not spent much time with them. That is avoiding the question. I suppose it is, mistress. I cannot think how to answer the question truthfully. That's fair. So yes, we have gathered enough information, says our thing, to infer that somewhere else exists. Somewhere in this area is the moon that all of this iolite comes from. We don't know enough to find it yet. But I believe we could just go exploring and possibly happen upon it. I'm not going to do that. We've had enough, I think, on this stream of me accidentally brute-forcing things that I just had to wait a bit to get more information for. I suppose there's nothing old here. No ruins, no ancient kings, no crumbled towers. Of course not, mistress. This is a farmyard. That is not how it works. This is a waste of my time, that's what it is. Rember's probably back on Iox again right now. Professor Mayari would have contacted me if that was the case, mistress. He is out here. Somewhere. Waiting. Well, we shall see. Let's go to the upper field. Gotta go up through the terraces, talk to the pigs, who are walking on the same cycle. But that's fine, the animation of this whole game is very low. You know, we don't have a billion keyframes, and that's fine, because clearly there is an aesthetic they're going for. This moon seems most poor to me. There are no proper buildings. There is mud everywhere. Nobody asked you for your assessment. Grown soft on Iox. This is normal. Good even. These people have everything they need. I have never left Iox before, mistress. To me, this place seems barbaric. Okay, well, you are both having bad takes there, because one of you is calling poor people barbarians, and one of you is over-romanticizing the simple life because you're an archaeologist. Don't succumb to cottagecore. They have plenty to eat. That's a good start. I did not intend to give offence, mistress. I am sorry if I did. Forget it, Six. Just maybe keep your voice down a little. I don't know why Mayari wanted me to take you with me. The professor cares about your safety. And she certainly doesn't care about yours. I mean, we do have the option of, you know, not getting our robots killed. We do not succumb to cottagecore on a mug. As ever, I'll say, if people want to, you know... You right down there, Six? If people want to do me merch designs, I will sell them. Plenty of rice stored up. This moon produces a surplus, mistress. For what good it does them. Food is good. Where does all the water here come from? There is a wellspring in the rock below us, mistress. The soil is permanently saturated by it. So much rice. Just lying around. Could scoop enough into my bag to feed an Elberethian family for a week. No one would even notice it was gone. I had heard Elbereth was a moon of thieves, mistress. I had assumed it was a slur rather than a strategy. Wow, now you are sassing me. Why can't everywhere be like this? Enough food, enough space, water to spare. Indeed, mistress. Interesting question to even ask. Where does the water come from? Out this way. But I do not have friendship with other robots, if that's what you mean, to get back to the old topic. Would you like some? Lazy town meme? We could set up a play date. I am quite content, mistress.
This was what passed for a street on Mayerzi. Buildings on stilts, jumping out of the bushes like children. It was so quiet.
And I say again, cottagecore. But I get it if you've been taken from your home in childhood on a rural moon to the big city. Ah, damn, I missed my chance to ask a question because I was talking. If Rambo was here, then someone must have seen him. This place is small and full of people. If they will talk to you, mistress. Why wouldn't they? You are an outsider, mistress. So was Ramba. No answer to that, have you? Ah. Good faith. My apologies, Ioxian. My pigs need me. Please, if you could just... Or not. Did I do something wrong? You came here. Perhaps that is all. The locals don't seem surprised to see me. Or to see you. I imagine robots collect supplies from here routinely. The locals I note also do not seem pleased to see you. Is that because we appear to be a part of the colonialist regime? Because that's really what it feels like. Let's approach the well. And then we have to tab out so that I can shout at bots. Away, bots.
Three paths met at the heart of the village. I could imagine them all, sitting around here in the evenings, sipping rucker and singing.
Rucker?
It seemed nice.
That's an interesting realization of that word. Stranger. Greetings. Greetings to you. Welcome to my Aussie. You come to trade? What? This is a beautiful moon you've got here. It's wet enough for us, certainly. No one else is talking to me. Forgive them. We understand things are not the same on Iox, they are here. What does that mean? On my Aussie, one requires an introduction before talking to anyone. You're talking to me. I've had some dealings with outsiders before. You could say I'm forward. Well, I'm looking for an outsider. Perhaps you could help. He's a stranger like myself. We see strangers from time to time. Mostly they buy the rice. They think they pay well, but they don't. This was a man named Unique. I've not heard of anyone by that name. Good luck with your search. Say the nebula's wide. Nebulas tend to be helpful. It appears Rambo was never here, mistress. Shall we leave? No, I want to look around some more. Love that we're having some cultural anthropology too. Yep, because really, ultimately, you can't do linguistics or archaeology without anthropology. Because, weirdly enough, languages were made by people. I'll think. Yes? Show him the crystal shard we found. Found a lump of crystal. You're very lucky. Where does it come from? From wherever it was, surely. You found it after all, and not I. Do you recognise this kind of stone? No. You would not buy anything from me with a trinket. Have you seen any Ioxians recently? I told you, no. Your husband, perhaps? Gone wandering? Wow. I'm afraid something's happened to him. If we had seen your husband, didn't say that. If he had met with an accident among us, what would Iox do? I don't want to get drawn into politics here. I just want to know where he is. We've not seen him. Now leave. It really seems like you're lying to me, and I don't understand why. The man sighed. Your husband was here. He left in a ship. Then something exploded in the sky. I do not know if that was your husband. And that's all. And it is more than you deserve. Good faith to you, lady. Good faith to you. Wow. Okay, well, there's a lead. This is what we get for not just leaving as soon as the robot suggests it. But can we find anything else around, may I say? Up at the top, because... Oh, you're from Iox. Well, I was born in Elbereth. But you are from Iox. Yeah, my name is Aaliyah. Then you are not her. Not Mayari. See, we can just claim that that's our surname. That's who you're waiting for? I heard your voice. You're Ioxian. But you said Aaliyah. I'm not Mayari. I'm sorry. I should have said nothing. Huh. I met a Mayosian woman. Perhaps I could have learned more from her. More than the nothing that I did learn. Mistress, if I may ask, if you weren't rooting in the mud for lost roboticists, what would you be doing at this moment? Rooting in the mud for something else, probably. I'd be sailing the uncharted reaches of the nebula looking for shipwrecks. There are places out there where no one's been for hundreds of years. There are echoes of ancient voices. But no. Instead, I'm standing in Pigmuck. Can't be an archaeologist afraid of dirt. Otherwise I'd be scouring the markets of Elbereth for interesting objects. Things have a life of their own, Six. Things survive. Things travel from moon to moon, from person to person. Does that sound silly to you? Things travelling from moon to moon? Hardly, mistress. I am a thing. Oh, maybe I'd be in the library with Huang reading up on old transcriptions. When the Empire was founded, they threw out the old way of writing. They erased the past entirely. But it's all still there, you just have to know where to look. You don't read ancient, do you? Be a lot easier otherwise. I would not know where to begin, mistress. Fair enough. Anything else up here on the top level? I must say, mistress, despite your cool manner, I am extremely excited to be working with you. You seem most passionate about your work. Spare me. I've had surly robots before, but not sycophant ones. Let's approach a villager. Good faith to you. Please, keep it quick. I don't want to talk to you. I was admiring your statue. Who is she? Kibenya. She blesses the fields. Cool, way to just walk off mid-conversation. Kibenya. Never heard the name of any of the ancient gods before. I didn't know they even had names. Everything's got a name. I wonder what Kibenya means. Mistress. All names mean something. Aaliyah, Mayari, Huang, you would remember. I wonder what Kibenya means. I'm going to assume the typo there was a typo and not our resident archaeologist historian being introduced to an ancient name and immediately forgetting it. Although that would be very funny. We'll find you some robots in Iox. It's just, it's not like you fraternize with other humans. Yeah, we're very similar, perhaps. It's just, I do not wish to discuss this further. Really? Why not? I appreciate your understanding, mistress. Thank you. Wow, Six is having none of us today. And I can respect that. Down to the field. Why do they build on stilts, do you think? Surely it doesn't flood up here. The mud, perhaps, mistress. Or perhaps animals sleep underneath. Like I say, can't do any of our fields without some anthropological investigation. Hello, villager. Good faith, master. Please keep it quick. I don't want to talk to you. Alright, I'm looking for someone. An Ioxian man called Janiki Ramba. You're expected to find a mine behind a tree. Do you know him? Turn to your moon. Leave us in peace. Wow, the people around here really don't like Ioxians. Possibly just me. I mean, I did come here, find something that looked vaguely valuable on the ground and immediately keep it. Which is a very archaeologist move. What are the Chronicles of Mazwai that Huang's always reading about? I believe Mazwai was a pilgrim sailor. She writes about the various places of the nebula, and about how the loop has acted in these places. Mazwai believes in the loop, then. Mazwai is an original source for the hypothesis, mistress. As much as anything is the source in the loop, mistress. Master Huang says the book became common shortly after the establishment of the Holy Empire. How many moons are there in the Iox Protectorate 6? At the last settlement, it was 23. Cool, random fact. Gotta have that trivia. Let's head back to the ship, but keep an eye out for anything else on the way. Wait, we never really walked through these fields. You sound like you don't approve of the Protectorate. I am neither for nor against it in principle, mistress. Though it does not appear sustainable. Left over from the Empire? Indeed, mistress. The Ioxian Guard is an increasingly minor force. Let's launch a revolution. Mistress is most droll. Can't go that way. There are plants. My one nemesis. Not even going to bother approaching Villager at this point. Hello. No. More rice. Do they grow anything else here? It would not appear so. Isn't the Protectorate too many moons to manage? There are no threats at present. This no doubt eases the situation. Oh, we can go in here. Hello? There's something scratched here. Oh, we can't go in here, but is it an inscription? The emblem of Iox. I suppose this is where the Maesian leave goods for the Ioxians to collect. Interesting. Yeah, they really do not want to get involved in anything with us. There is no way I am crossing that, mistress. Robots cannot swim. You can wait, can't you? My power source is good for millennia, mistress. Waiting will not be an issue. Patience, however, is more limited. Tell it to Mayari. 6. How long were you buried on Iox? I have no idea, mistress. I do not remember it. And you don't know why you were buried? No, mistress. I can only assume I was not needed. Perhaps robots weren't trusted. Perhaps, mistress. Though I have observed robots to be both more predictable and more kind than most humans. Wow. I mean, probably fair. But hey, we can explore on our own over here. I mean, there appears to be a whole one building, but you know. Oh no, wait, there's a way down into the forest. Mistress, is something the matter? I'm detecting certain elevated emotional markers. Like what? Shout through this building. Shortness of tone, mistress. Lack of compromise. Marcus. You're a robot, Six. I don't need to be nice to you. Bit harsh. There's something here. Is there now? A water-bearer goddess statuette fashioned from copper. It looks like something from the Holy Empire. It's the same goddess as the statue, of course. And there's something carved. I doubt it's a single word. Ancient scribes didn't always trouble to put in their spaces. Very true. I don't think they expected their writing to be read. And now we get to do a puzzle. So that appears to be the group that means holy. And based on that, we can work out what the other spaces are. Let's see now. This grouping resembles my word for buried. I mean, it doesn't really. It's got that, but none of the kind of internal bits. But one thing I do wonder, because we know when we took that bit off the front of holy, it became God. And the only semantic difference between them is what part of speech they are. Like, not part of speech, that's... Yeah, that is the word. That is the phrase I'm looking for. Brain, come on. Because it's turning it from an adjective to a noun. A god is fundamentally that which is holy. So, are the radicals on the front of things purely markers for what part of speech we're dealing with? Because then, is this a verb? Because it's got the two curves there. And then, like, is that verb past tense? I mean, it could be something else entirely. But if this is a verb, I'm guessing follow. Holy. And then this has this marker which, going from what we've seen before, would be nouns. Don't know what the comma at the end is. So we've got word, we've got light, we've got heart, we've got friend. Light, just again, as much as anything, going from kind of pictographically, that's a character I would draw if I was trying to express what light was. 1 second. My computer is having a moment. Follow... I can still change my mind, but... Follow holy light? This comes from the same side as the brooch. The one Mayari gave me on Iox. Having another artifact should help us to find the place. So, we know that the crystals come from somewhere in this area. We know that the brooch and the statuette come from somewhere in this area. So that would suggest that the moon in question is in the intersection thereof. A genuine forest. Iox couldn't support trees like this. Oh, we are clipping through the hill. Coming back, 6. I found the thing. Back to the ship, 6. Done all we can here for now. This way, mistress. Yeah, I know. I'm literally ahead of you. So we left the warm, wet fields of Mercy. Yes, your timeline is going to get very busy. Like, extremely busy, given that it is trying to catalogue all of history. From 5,000 years ago to what is happening to you now. Someone left a shard of crystal on Mercy. It might have been Ramba, but if so, why? Is he making an offering or leaving a message? We could otherwise sail to Iox and tell Mayari what we've learned so far about Ramba. So we could go looking for the crystal moon. No, I am quite certain in my analysis, Mistress. The crystal we found, Mistress, and the element inside the brooch, they originate from a moon somewhere on the edge of the cyclones. The cyclones is a dangerous wild. There's nothing there but clouds and storms. I am aware of that, Mistress. I wonder, what exactly... Oh no, that's me. What exactly did Ramba... Oh no, that is him. What exactly did Ramba discover? Well, we'd better find out. Shut sail, 6. Now, we could go investigating for that moon, or we could go somewhere else. And I'm leaning towards somewhere else, because you know how I am with plot. Right, so now that that's got that dotted line around it, that means we know enough to search for it. We can go to that area and see what we can dig up. Can we go to our broth? She says we could go back to Iox and tell Mayari what we found, but it appears the only place we can go at the minute is to investigate the Iolite moon. So fine. Let's go investigate and just do some nice sailing. The sailing for this is so pretty. Especially now that, you know, I can display it at a reasonable frame rate. Are there other ships on the rivers, Mistress? I have not seen any. There are other ships out here. But you rarely see them. No, this way. Avoid the rock. More rocks. Everyone goes at the same speed. So no one ever passes you by. People who like people stay on the ground. You do not like people, Mistress? Whatever gave you that idea? That explains a lot. Wow. I think we're getting read by our robot. Tell me. Is there anything you do like? I like silence. I like not driving into these rocks, Does give you a bit of auto steer around rocks. Either river ahead leads to our destination at the next junction, Mistress. What happened to me just saying I like silence? Like just now. Oh wait, that way. Dun dun dun. I really didn't like Iox on Mercy. Nah. I always thought Iox treated the other moons well. What the... Camera? Keep up. I think the Iolite moon should be somewhere nearby. We're in its vicinity. I don't know what we're supposed to do with that fact. There's a rock up ahead. What have we found? Is this the place? Please say this is the place. I mean, also if it's not the place. Ah, above the crystal moon. Why would anyone come to a lonely spot like this? I mean, if it wasn't the place, it'd still be a thing. And there are a few things archaeologists love more than finding a thing. We have arrived, mistress. The moon below us is rich in purple iolite crystals. But there is no surface flow. You cannot land the ship. So this is as close as we can get? As close as you can get, mistress. I should be able to hop it down. But there is no air. There's no air. How did Remba go down without a robot? It would have been impossible. But Remba was a roboticist, mistress. He must have had a robot with him. Despite what the professor told us. Please wait here. Just don't take too long. Hopper here meaning teleporter, clearly.
A moment later, the robot was gone. And I was alone in the dark.
It was great. What were you up to, Ram? You didn't find robots in Mayazi. What did you find? If I flew away now, I could be rid of that thing. I'm not going to, though. And it's back. Mistress! I found something, mistress. This is Janiki's? The probability is high. I believe the moon below us was once a quarry. But this box is no artifact. Remba hid this box down there. It was a superb hiding place, mistress. But whether it was Remba's doing or not, I could not say. It's not that great a hiding place. I mean, we found it in, like, an hour. Better not have damaged it. It appears intact to me, mistress. There isn't a snake in here. I mean, with no air, that seems unlikely. A roll of cloth. Why would Remba hide something like this? He must have had a reason, mistress. His choice of hiding place was extreme. Thick fabric. Sneaky, what is this? Also, you're an archaeologist. Why are you not wearing gloves? Some kind of robe? But it's hundreds of years old. There's something stitched along the belt. Tiny characters picked out in a darker thread. Ooh. Longer phrasing. This is a long one. That's what I said. Let me think. Okay. So it's saying light and water are related to this. I don't see how. There don't appear to be any immediately semantically related things. Okay, so things... So, if we're starting with object classes... Like, that would mean this is about a kind of person? Yeah, because placement of the dots is variable. It's after some of the class markers, but not others. Maybe person doesn't act as a class marker so much. Like, I could see that being a special case that always takes the space after it. Because that bit is God. That means that we're talking about people. And then this is a verb cluster. It's got the same character there as Buried had. I'm guessing pilgrims? Like, if that's approach god people? Here I have nothing. But just given from the options we've been given, I don't think this is gather, because then it would have the two little things that's a verb marker. All, many, and with all seem possible. Circle and then 4 tacks. I mean, that says all to me. I would guess that the tacks are like many, and then the circle is more kind of all-encompassing. But again, this is just me going off iconicity. And then that would suggest that this is together. I mean, that's the most coherent thing I can make there. All pilgrims together. Were you a pilgrim, remember? Some ancient faith, perhaps, kept secret from the powers back on Iox. Secret from Mayari herself. There's more in her. This is a silver sextant. It's beautifully preserved. An heirloom, maybe. How's that look to it? Something that was old even when it was used. The casing's been inscribed too. Oh, another long one. This one's a fractured piece from an even longer phrase. Love translating fragments. Love it. I like that it's giving us every as an alternate gloss for all. That makes a lot of linguistic sense. That section is clearly light. That section is follow. Feeling confident about my translation of light now. Yeah! Yes, once you've used a thing in enough places, then you get confident in it. Okay. I don't know what that inverted comma means. I mean, this isn't Greek, so it probably doesn't mean starts with an H sound. But then this is noun light, but with a different ending. Just because we've been offered it, is it stars? Like possessive? Is that like a genitive marker? Because these could be cases as well as classes. And then that would mean that this... Like, the difference between light and star, I would say, is that you've got one is abstract, one is concrete. Is that a distinction we're making? I'll go with that. Follow stars light. I don't think this is from the same place or period as that robe. In fact, I don't think we've seen anything equivalent to this sextant before. So it must have originated on a site that's undocumented. But that's not all. There's also a piece from a precisely written book filled with minute computations. How did Rember get his hands on all this? The binding is in fantastic condition. This book must have been part of some ancient courtier's personal library. Looks like there's some writing along the spine. Oh my god, so many inscriptions! Bless the waters. I don't stand a chance of working that out. Now we'll get back to it. And this comes from the same source as the sextant. So are these leads, or are these things what Rember was after? Wait, mistress. I will consider the matter. Can you work out where the robe was originated? I fear so. It is not a good location, mistress. But Professor Mayari was keen that we found Master Remba. And I am sure Master Remba is equally keen to be found. Unless he's already dead. Can't discount that possibility. He's been sailing out to places like this one. Obviously, it is worse than that, mistress. I found chemical traces on the box casing. I believe Remba did not rely on sails to reach his destination, but rather an explosive propellant. But where was he going? I am not exactly certain, mistress. But I believe Remba travelled far from home, into the eye of the cyclones. Cool, that sounds bad. Remba found something impossibly deep in the swirling waters of the cyclones. I could search for this site now, or I could go back to Iox. It's interesting that the Eye of the Cyclones is so far off the marked streams, but then it makes sense if that's why he was using a chemical rocket to get there rather than sailing, because then you're not restricted to the bits where the waters are fastest. Is this water or is it space? An excellent question. But also, if you zoom in, you'll note you've got, like, trails that dissipate off into nothing, so it's possible there are new routes there. I mean, that's just next door. It seems like it would probably be the place to go. But in any case, I will be doing that after I've taken a short break, because it is that time as ever. So I'm going to go and get up and stretch my legs and think in English for a bit, and get some more water, and run some ads. You know, do all of those good things. Some of them may not be as good. I would recommend that, you know, all of you watching do any or all of the above. Go, get a drink, have a snack, stretch your legs, take your meds if you haven't. I'll be running some ads. If you could leave those to run, that would be great. And I will be back in 5 or 10 minutes. Love you all. See you in a few. And we're back. Hello again, everyone. Should we plot across the Eye of the Cyclones? I think we should. Because, you know, we could go to Iox. But it's a long way away. When this is right here, it feels wrong not to. Ah, see, we have a route marked on some places we hadn't seen. So let's see how that goes. Sailing to the Eye of the Cyclones. In a fast current. Does the road's origin suggest there's a cult living inside the cyclones? Doing what? Worshipping the storm? It is possible. Humans have very strange hobbies. It is true. I play computer games for the internet to watch. Navigate through the rocks. Go straight on here, mistress. Yes, I can see the arrows. There's a reason I always have the sound turned off whenever I'm like on Google Maps. Hold on, 6. I cannot hold on, mistress. It's true, it doesn't have arms. We're in one piece. We appear to be. We're another rapid. We're in the vicinity of the Eye of the Cyclones. This whole area is wild. So if anybody's watching this, has motion sickness, because this is a lot. Trying to keep the camera stable. Oh my god, this looks amazing. Better check the hull when we next land. Now we're near to the eye of the Now we're near to the eye of the cyclones, mistress. I can't see which way to turn at this branch, mistress. Well, let's try this way. I don't know. If you fall out of the current, do you die? I don't know. I have to choose one and explore. But given that it gives you a bit of auto-steer around rocks, I imagine you can't go out of the current. I see it! There's something up ahead. A moon? There is air, but no upriver, mistress. You'll need to leave the ship here and hop it down. Please do not be alarmed. It is quite safe. I don't think you can die in this. Now the cyclones. Will Ramba be waiting for us here in the centre of the storm?
The hopper fired, and for a moment I was gone. Not aboard the Nightingale, not on the moon beneath. It could have been a heartbeat or an hour. But I didn't feel the cold until I reappeared.
Pile of rocks, mistress, smashed together by the waters. It seems Janiki had a taste for places like this. Yeah, you said the last one would be empty too. And it wasn't. So who knows what we'll find here. Perhaps a box of hand towels and a hairbrush. This way, Six. Everyone knows if you die in linguistic archaeology, you die in real life. I mean, it's true. That was one of the first things they impressed upon me at college, was that linguistics is a dangerous field. Perhaps Ramba's waiting for us just around this corner. And I'll pay him back to the Nightingale, and this chapter of my life will be done. Perhaps, mistress. Perhaps. We can only hope. I get the sense you don't think he will. Hold it. 6. What's that?
Here, in the middle of the hurricane, there was a house.
There is a house. That is what that is.
It was fine. Tucked in below the overhanging rock. Wooden beams, mud brick walls, shutters. Large enough for 2 families to argue over. It would have been measly on Iox and grand on Elbereth. But here, it was impossible.
And yet, someone built this? Buildings do not occur naturally, mistress, says the potato robot. How did Janiki find it? I hope we can ask him, mistress. So a robot's capable of hope? Certainly. We calculate odds, of course. But even the most unlikely outcomes must always eventually occur. Not how it works. Hope is a mathematical certainty. Not really, but sure. Law of large numbers, I guess. I like that. The mathematics does not care whether you like it or not, mistress. Wow. Sassy potato, aren't you? What with rubble and ruin. This whole place must be slowly peeling away from the cliff. Perhaps you might forego going inside. That hardly seems likely. So what should I do? Just go back to Iox and say, well, we got so far and then we gave up. Don't think it should send us right back here? I do not think Professor Mayari wants you to sprain your ankle, mistress. I don't think Mayari cares about my ankle. Besides, you can always hop me back to the ship. There appears to be smoke up there. Is that smoke? That is definitely smoke. Oh, Ramba. That's your ship, isn't it? It must be Ramba. He thought he'd blown himself up. Or crashed. I could vault over the wall here. Could you heavens vault over the wall? Please, mistress. The floor beyond will only give way beneath you. Do you see any other way in? No, neither do I. Floor looks like stone to me, Six. So it is heavy and more likely to fall. Not really how it works. Maybe that's what happened to Rembo. Fell through a hole in the floor. Better go investigate then. Linguistics and parkour. Some kind of structure. There's a plinth inside. Looks like a shrine? Might help me date this place. Figure out what it's supposed to be. God, archaeologists are always trying to date the buildings. Smoke must be Rembo. Yeah, we've had this discussion. We literally just had this discussion. Here goes. Parkour! Floor seems sound enough. 6. Where did the robot go? 6. So robots abandoned me for once. Yeah, look at this place, Leia. No one would live here. They couldn't. And yet...
The ghosts were still here. Cooking, reading, doing whatever ghosts do. The house was empty. But it hadn't been abandoned.
Walls simply made. Lots of wood must have been brought here. Brought from Mercy, maybe? I imagine there are multiple places with trees, but maybe. Rough bed, hardly comfortable. Whoever built this place wasn't worried about making it cozy. Ooh, an inscription. There's an inscription here. It's old, barely visible. Scratched into the plaster. Okay, so this is a person type. Could just be a simple meaning here. Could just be I. It's not going to be and. Citizen and slave both seem like they would have more complex forms, so I'm going to go with that. Fascinating to you that all these disparate locations have the same ancient language? Well, yes. Clearly, the ancient times civilization stretched a lot further than the Protectorate does. Okay, so this is verb, noun. Verb, noun. And that's a noun that means, like, holy thing. Could just be good. And this is a person. This is an interesting character. I mean, I would guess this means... It could mean see, it could mean fear. I feel like C would be more straightforward. It's not goddess, we know that. It's a person, so it's probably not death, or if it was, it would be capital D, death. I fear beloved would be weird. I fear strangers? I mean, it's scratched into a wall, maybe when somebody was hiding. And that would mean that this kind of lightning bolt shaped character could mean something about knowing Because this could be like person, not verb, no. So, something in the person class which is about not knowing, which is a stranger. That seems reasonable. Does I fear strangers work? Someone had come here. The angle is interesting too. Scratched by someone lying down. I repeat what I just said. I know how to linguist. Which is good because I do it all the time. Anything in these parts? No. Why build something as big as this out here? Who's it for? Also, I like how you get a real sense of Aaliyah's biases, just like when she describes this as this house as big enough for two families to fight, to argue over. Like, not just implying that she's from somewhere where there's not a lot of space, but specifically somewhere where space is at a premium and to be contested. And probably just where there is a certain amount of general unrest. Mistress! Evidently, it is good to see you intact, mistress. How did you get down from that arch? Wasn't easy. I could not climb over the wall, so I drove myself off the cliff edge. Once I had dug myself out of the sand, I found a door. Now you understand why I keep losing robots. They're always doing stupid stuff like that. Anything to investigate? Oh yeah. Another cot. Found one just like this on the floor above. Someone grew too old or too ill to climb back upstairs, so they made up a bed down here instead. Someone died right here, mistress. You sure? The evidence is minor, but significant. A person lay on the floor here for some time after death. Remember? No. Whoever died here died scores of years ago. The lack of moisture on this moon has preserved the traces, but they are old. So where are the bones? The person who lay in state here was only removed recently. I remember? You saying Janiki took them? What remained of them? Someone did. That's horrid. Why would he do that? You're an archaeologist. Heaven sure, mistress. Something must have led him to this place. Stealing bones is your thing. There must have been something here that he needed. That's even more horrid. Yes. Yes, it is. Well, thanks, robot value judgment. Ooh, there's an inscription up here. I love inscriptions. More symbols. More words I don't know. Okay, so this is a verb. I still don't know what that means. But then this is God. So the verb of a holy person is bless. Water goddess blesses. Okay, so this is an abstract noun, just from the classification I've been using thus far. From the shape of the thing, from the shape of the symbol, and also the fact that it's written on a hearth, I'm going to guess fire. Water goddess blesses the fire. Which is an odd thing for a water goddess to do, but here we are. Water goddess blesses the fire. This is a fireplace, after all. Perhaps they were afraid of it burning the house down? The building won't actually cave in on us, will it? I cannot guarantee that, mistress. It was made by farmers. Wow, judge much. A fire poker. Is it worth anything? Unlikely. It is old iron, no more. I'll put it back. Like, no inscriptions. and I'm not carrying it around with me. Also, I'm, you know, trying to lean a little bit away from the fact that archaeologists, just their whole job is to go to old places and steal everything they see. I wonder if this door's jammed. Or if it might open. We can operate doors. We're good like that. Look at this. Swirls and flows. These are rivers. The detail. Who lived here? Who drew this? These look like the rivers of Ghost Wake. But no one goes to Ghost Wake. Ah, now we have enough evidence to find the thing. Is there an inscription? Seems so. This one's a phrase run together. Okay, so that's me, if it is correct. I'm certain my translation for me is right now. I mean, good, because if you've got a working knowledge of this script, you should probably know the basic grammatical points like that. So this is a verb. If this is the same, same marker as it is light, it's an abstract verb. Which is interesting. What's this? Oh, is this a case marker for places? Because then that would mean... Yeah, because looking at follow, I still don't know what that means, but if that is just like verbs of motion, then that would mean pilgrims here breaks down to class of people, and then this would be verb to go to a holy place. That makes sense to me. So that would suggest this is a place marker, which would suggest that this is home. And again, that lightning bolt one that we saw in Stranger and Fear could mean something along the lines of know. So home is just the place you know. So I'm guessing take me home? Take me home? Well, that'll do for now. It also shares elements with fire. No, that was a slightly different character, I think. This is definitely a map. Not of this place, somewhere else. I mean, doing my inscriptions list. Yeah, if you look, we've got the character here, it's one lightning bolt and wavy line underneath it, whereas fire is just two lightning bolts, no line. Yeah, so there's similar elements to it, but I don't know whether that's necessarily meaningful. But yes, it could be from a kind of older form of it. Ultimately, relationship of home in relationship to hearth, which would make a lot of kind of symbolic sense. And yes, a lot of the time you do have to make these leaps when you're doing speculative linguistics. So we've got a map to somewhere, but we've got the rest of this house to explore, and then the rest of this moon to explore. This place is empty. No ancient cults here. No answer to that, have you, Six? Ooh, this looks interesting. Beautifully made. Much nicer than everything else here. I estimate it to be hollow, mistress. Ooh, an inscription. Something inscribed on the lid. Might be a clue as to what's inside. Okay, I said this was a genitive. And that would make sense of it on its own to just mean of, because that means of, noun, light, concrete. And this is verb of go, which makes a certain amount of sense for follow. Or is it and? But then stars would be wrong. That would be stars without the apostrophe. I'm just going to say that's of. Okay, so we said that if that's all, then the circle is probably the kind of totality of it, and then the tags are many, many. And this is many, many of many. And this at the start is an adjective. So that would seem to suggest enormous. Ooh. This is the noun marker, but upside down. What does that mean? And then there's no concrete or abstract marker at the end. Am I sure stars is right because to me and makes more sense with following together? You're not wrong. You are not wrong. It does make more sense, but at the same time, I chose this translation for a reason. Let's see if I can remember what it was. None of the others, like yours, stars would make no sense. Follow stars light. Like if that's a plural marker, that seems weird as a class. The fact that you've got it in apposition to light there, which for the record is a translation we have locked, and could still make sense as a possessive marker, yeah. But then at that point you're saying that of and are basically the same. Let's take another look at this. I'm sticking with that as of for the minute. Could be proven wrong. Okay, so this is star. Okay, so this is verb. So buried breaks down as verb. I'm guessing that's past participle. I think the X is a negator. So this is place something not go. So if that's like up, or kind of conceptually up, the sky, the living world, so person who does not go up, I could see that as, made to not go up to the place. I could see that as absolutely a reasonable gloss of buried, which would make this star upness, which is the wind. Maybe? Winds of enormous, and then speed? If that's the concept of flow as a radical. Let's go with that for now. Winds of enormous speed. I don't know, it's not that big. Open it up then, Six. Avoid any possible booby traps. Not locked, mistress, but stiff. And I lack fingers for leverage. You don't have an attachment for prying? Something you can stick into your arm sockets? My first robot had those. Perhaps I could find something on the ship. Maybe there's something around here I could use. Yeah, of enormous value would also make sense. Because it's a container. Of course, if this coffer is locked, it means it's nothing to do with Remba. He didn't open it. That is logical, mistress. Though the coffer may relate to this place and its significance. And also you said it wasn't locked. Oh, let's get the poker. Poker, poker, poker. Poker, poker, poker. Poker, poker, poker. I think this might do for a lever. A good thought, mistress. Poker, poker, poker. Lever lid with iron poker. Might be able to snap the lock. You said it wasn't locked. Mistress, is it moving? It's definitely shifting. Here goes then. Hey, no traps. Let's see.
And there it was, just lying there. The greatest treasure I ever found.
Okay, treasures of enormous value might have been 6. Look at this.
From inside the coffer, from the distant past of the nebula's once great empire.
Incredible.
It was a crown.
Oh, hey, you know we found it said we'd lost the crown of the empire? The Eagle and Sun Motif. Just like Janiki's brooch. The mark of the empire. Could this be the crown of Iox itself? Can you imagine how much this is worth? Enough that finding a buyer would be most irksome, mistress. Something written along the rim. Whoa! A lot of something written along the rim. Got one of these words in my notebook, but I can take a chance on what's left. Okay, so this is abstract noun. Or but then it doesn't have anything to relate to. Okay, we'll leave that for this a moment. Okay, so that's water. Water, and that's a concrete thing that goes, so that's river. That's got to be river. Rivers of light. This is me, but with the plurality, so we. Verb go. Noun go. Well, that could be sail, if a noun go were as a boat. Thing what go being a boat, and a verb to go on thing what go is to sail. It makes more sense than any of the others. And that's all in relation to... I'm guessing that would be time, just because we have forever as an option, which would make this on, just to make the sentence make sense. Does on rivers of light we sail forever make sense? Is this crown what Mayari wanted us to find? Is this why she sent us out here looking? Ramba too, perhaps? Mistress, I'll have to tell her, mistress. I have no choice. Well, just quickly, I am going to change this one, because treasures of enormous value makes more sense. The house has been built right up against the rock face. It's been cold here. Whoever lived in this place would have kept their fire burning constantly. Why are we zooming in? I wonder what they did for wood. Camera just having a moment. Got it, got it. A workbench. Whoever lived here would have needed to be self-sufficient. Then they would have needed... Oh, then they would have needed water, mistress. Anything hiding in the shadows? Certainly there is. Well, that's ominous. Ooh, what's that above the door? A glint. There's something up here. A blade? A dagger? A little corroded, but beautifully crafted. And with an eagle and sun on the hilt. And there's an inscription on it. I can barely make the letters out, they're so tiny. This one is several words. Okay, so that is all. So is this like... So if this is person of me, so this is our... So it's just like all of our people? I can add my translation for all to my dictionary now. Nice. I'm also sure of as. There you go, it is as or of. Ha 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 ha. But yeah, the line between and of, that kind, when it's all just kind of about agglutinativity. And when you have a language that works from apposition anyway. Okay, so this is noun, many person. I mean, that makes sense. And if person that is me and person many that is we, then, I mean, one would make sense. All people as one? What's this crown doing out here? Did someone steal it? Hide it here, but never collect? That seems most unlikely, mistress. Yeah, but this whole situation is pretty damn unlikely, so you know. Let's leave
After
the
the
house.
dead air of the house, it was good to see the sky again.
You have acquired 2 intriguing artifacts here, the dagger and the crown. Also, we have located one new location of interest, aside from the mural. I suggest we take the crown to Professor Mayari directly. We must also inform her of our theories about Remba. May I activate the hopper now, mistress? Well, no, because there was another building. Soon, not yet. There must be more to this place. I want to know who lived here, who died here, and what happened to Remba. And also, there was another building. And also, there was a smoke trail. No way through here, though it would have once been open enough. What is a hopper, anyway? A short-distance teleporter, mistress. But what is a hopper? I mean, what's inside it? An interconnected mesh of quantium. The quantium creates some kind of field which the subject is passed through and dissected via. Mistress, does it matter? Yes, you're happy enough to fire off the hopper? Even if you don't know how it works? Don't you care what it does to us? It appears to work, mistress. I mean, an inscription on the rock. My favourite words. This one's a broken fragment from an even longer phrase. Okay, so what do we have here? We have us. We have water. That's the word for water. Short and simple and almost a pictogram. Yeah. I'm convinced of ours as well. See, I'm getting it. I have linguist brain. Which leaves one word to guess. So that's a verb. Is that like join? It's of joiningness. I mean, join is an option. I'm gonna go with that. Water joins us. The shrine was built here. Is the stone inside from Maisie? No, mistress. I do not know where it is from, but Maisie does not have stone like that. Well, fine. Can I get over this channel so we can investigate this building? Is this channel natural? I don't think it is. Dug out. There must be a wellspring here. A feeble one. One that requires every drop to be used. Water would have run down the channel right past the house. Imagine having a stream of your own. Not a bad way to live. If you can withstand the soul-crushing loneliness. Well, someone lived out here. They irrigated the land, prayed, here in the eye of the cyclones. Some kind of hermit? That seems like, you know, a bold claim. There's another inscription. My god, I have good eyes. This one's a broken fragment from an even longer phrase. So this is Emperor. This is forever. I believe you can be confident of your translation for forever now, mistress. There's only one word left to resolve. Wait. That one this character that I've been saying is something about knowing. Nah, it's about living. Yeah, so this is verb, live, abstract. Emperors live forever. Emperors? Here? What were emperors doing out here? According to legend, the last emperor disappeared after Iox fell. Didn't die there with everyone else. Are you suggesting he came here? Why not? I'd explain a few things. Not least that crown. You're not wrong. Okay, where was that other inscription? Yeah, so live place for home makes a lot of sense. So this one's scratched on the wall. I'm actually not sure. Where was the other one where it came up? Was it in the bit from the annals? Yeah. No, that did not come up in there at all. What was I thinking? No, I don't think it has come up again. Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind. I didn't see any shrine houses on Mersey like this one here. Not even small ones. An older custom, perhaps? Iox does not permit shrines, mistress. Iox would no doubt remove the Myasian statue if they could work out how to shift it. Perhaps. Or perhaps even Iox does not meddle with the goddess of water when she watches over a prosperous farm. Never underestimate the force of superstition. Stone pedestal with someone in it. Oh hey, it's Cabania again. It's Cabania from Maezi. This site was linked to Maezi, man. That's somehow how Remba found it. This should tell us a little bit more about this place. It seems to be etched with tiny characters, knew there would be, and possibly small. This is the end of a long line of text. Okay, so this is holy or sacred. This is bless. And then there's a character we haven't seen. Something's gone wrong. I must have used the wrong words. Okay, so you're not looking for sacred. Really? Well, in that case, are we saying goddess? I believe you are correct with goddess, mistress. It's a long one, but I think it must say bless. Yeah, because it's holy person action. But this last word doesn't look like anything I've seen before. See, I mean, plants would make sense because just pictographically and within the whole sentence. But I think it might be you. I mean, but it's not marked as a person, it's not marked as a noun. I'm gonna go with you for now. Does goddess bless you work? And I'll just steal it. It's the goddess from Maezi, isn't it? Mistress, you can recognize her by her hat. And may the same be said of all of us. That's not a hat, Six. It's an aura. You are correct, mistress, it is not a hat. Evidently, it is more technically a fascinator. It's still an aura. The shrine itself is made of stone. But it's not the same stone as the moon itself. Is this as old as the building? The outer structure is certainly, but the stone pillar? No. Buildings here are significantly older than the pillar. Brought by a later occupant, though. Moving it to this moon must have been difficult. I mean, the map said home, so perhaps it's from the moon in Ghost Wake we saw on the map. Perhaps so, mistress. But if so, it has walked a long way to be here. Are you sassing me again? I feel like you're sassing me again. Can't tell exactly how, but if that felt like sass. Stop doing things that feel like sass. Oh, is this a cave I can go into? Because I need to find what's up with that smoke trail. Obviously, the building is at least 700 years old. How'd you work that out? I have been observing the rate of weathering on the stones, mistress. Extrapolating, this building is older than the founding of the Holy Empire on Iox. It'll be dark in there. Ember? Nothing. Okay, no. Archaeologist scared of a cave. Love it. Great. Can I get any further up here? Is this where the smoke was? Smoke's this way. See? Told you. By all the moons and waters. That's a crash, alright. It's a ship. I mean, it was a ship. Can we be sure this was Janiki's ship? No, mistress. But the circumstantial evidence is very strong. You recall the propellant on the tool chest? There are further traces here. So what do we do now? Return to Iox and inform Professor Mayari, mistress. But first we stretch and we hydrate. I say shoulders shouldn't make that noise, but mine always have, so why would they stop now? I suppose I always assumed we'd find Remba. Assumed, I don't know. I assumed we'd find something, not just wreckage. We have found something, mistress. For what this place is and why it is important, perhaps you could take the matter up with Remba in his next life, mistress. Helpful, thank you. Love that. Blackened. Presumably the ship was still burning as it fell. This was the hull. It must have been an explosion, mistress. Enough to be seen on Maersi. And Janiki himself? Mistress, there is no hope. Janiki must have been sailing when it fell. Are you really giving me... He cannot possibly have survived. Ah, no one could have survived that. The classic. The fire here must have burnt up a lot of air. The remaining atmosphere is thin, mistress. Still, I believe the fire was extinguished before it consumed the whole ship. Yeah, you can tell by the way there's still bits of ship. What I can't figure out is this. What was Remba doing finding ancient sites? He must have been following some kind of trail, mistress. But how that trail began and where it was leading him, most unclear. What were you hiding, Remba? A good question, mistress. But he cannot hear you. It's rhetorical. Dude, learn about rhetoric. There must be something to find around here. Look, there's a dot. Something wedged under here. Seems to have survived the fire. Please, please don't be an arm. It's a leg. It's not an arm. It's a leg. A golden compass, close enough, engraved with a knotted rope design, dating from at least the earliest days of the Empire. Must have been aboard Janiki's ship. Another of his finds? Doesn't have an etched message on the casing. But you know, always good to have around. This comes from the same place as the piece of paper and the sextant that we found on the site of Remba's cache. People must have commonly visited both of the two locations. New site indicated an unknown moon somewhere in Eagle's Pass. It must have burned for days. You fool, Remba. Do you think Janiki found the crown, Sex? Well, no, if you crashed it, he would be dead. I do not think that coffer has been opened in at least 500 years, mistress. But he must have known it was here. Why else come? Perhaps Janiki took something else with him. If so, that other item is lost. Well, told me. What, there's something else down. Is there a way down? Might be more clues down there. I do not believe it would be wise, mistress didn't ask that. Indeed, I believe it would be quite the opposite, still didn't ask. I can barely see the rivers above. And yet, there's something here. Which makes me wonder, what else is out here waiting to be found? Especially given that this civilization seems to be very unconcerned with inquiry. Mistress, please. We should not linger. If anything were to go wrong out here, we would never be found. I love their face. Many faces. Someone had come looking for us. We're out here looking for Janiki, aren't we? Janiki is Miari's friend. You are not. Wow. Judge much. This channel comes up from the rock. Wellspring must be down there somewhere. The spring is dead now, mistress, and you are breathing the last air this moon has to offer. Janiki is not here, mistress. Neither is anyone else. Are you ready to go yet, mistress? Well, there doesn't seem to be anything else I can find out here, so sure. Do it. Do the hustle. Stand by, mistress. When we get dissected by a quantum mesh. But hey, don't think too hard about it.
Darkness.
So that went well. This is not the Nightingale. 6. I hate robots. I hate them. They always do this kind of thing. Right before they give you the speech about how it was for your own good. Mistress, you are about to step on a small ant. My ethical core might require me to lock you inside this packing crate. Cold in here. Oh, hey. Are you here to not have a face, robot? There you are. Where's your head? Mayari. What about Mayari? You followed me, Lexi. As I thought you might. Because you knew. Because you've always known. 6, is someone calling? There is no one here. You are quite alone. You might confess your lie quite safely. What lie? You are not what you claim. I know this, Mayari. You asked me to look, and I found so much. So who am I? You are just what you appear to be, and nothing more. Am I talking to Remba? There isn't time. I found something. Something that matters more than your lies. Lexi, there is a great darkness. An all-consuming, hungry darkness. And it is coming. How are you doing this, Janiki? How are you talking to me? I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're dead. There is an ancient place, Mayari. An observatory. It is watching, and it holds the wires of our fate in its claws. An observatory? I will find it before the vault is lost. The robots know, but they don't remember. Someone long ago made certain they would not remember. Remember, how do I help you? Well, you have my apologies, mistress. I do not understand the question. What were we just talking about? Nothing, mistress. We have maintained a companionable silence for several minutes. Let's see if we can't get out of here. Wherever here is. This way, mistress. No, I will go against the flow of the game. I remember how we ended up here? Hoppers can misfire due to imperfections, mistress. The eye aboard your ship is quite old. And no one called you just now? Evidently not, mistress. I was talking to Remba. Just now. Through you. Mistress, Master Remba is dead. There's light this way. See where we are now? Yes. Well, I still don't see how we got in there. We have obtained one more interesting artifact here, the compass. We've also found evidence of one more new location, an unknown moon. Shall I try the hopper one more time, mistress? You think it'll work properly now? I thought it would work last time, but I do not see much alternative. Shall I use the hopper again, mistress? Sure. Do the hustle. Do the hopper. Do. Stand still, mistress. And so we left the surface of the ruined hermitage moon near Maese, with enough new evidence to find an undiscovered site. And we're aboard the Nightingale again. Should sail to Iox and tell Mayari what we've seen. I don't know, we could go exploring. I'm sure she wants to see the crown. Just look at this thing. The workmanship is beautiful. Evidently it is more than a simple crown, mistress. It's a symbol. This was Iox's power, lost after the fall. To regain it would be a sign that Iox was once more the centre of the nebula. More than that, mistress. I believe the metal is a casement for a mechanism of some kind. The mechanism? What? What kind of mechanism? Without opening it up, I cannot tell. Does it open? Not in any way I can see. But if it does contain a mechanism, I would expect a method by which it might be serviced. So you want to take a hammer to a priceless artifact? I confess I am curious, mistress. It's not just pretty, then. Perhaps not, mistress. Maybe we should go to Elbereth. Quite fancy somewhere with people. The actual crown of the Empire, which I have slung over the side of my chair. I think so, anyway. Rem's crystal. It's beautiful enough. That doesn't explain what Rem was doing with it. And the figurine. She looks at home here. But presumably she was fashioned on Maese. Clay being a material derived from waterlogged mud. I wonder if the Maesians want it back. Can I go through this door? No. Let's take to the river. I will ready the ropes, mistress. That's not the next line. Come on. So, we have an unknown moon. We have the site from the mural, which I'm interested in going to. The unknown moon is somewhere in here. Elbereth is there. And we can go to a bunch of places. Let's go and see if the people of Maese like us more once we repatriate this statue. Yes, we could go and talk to the professor. But I'm not going to, because I talk a big game about repatriation, so maybe I should do that. Down to Maese in the Verdant Pass via the wires.
We set course once more for Maese. I found myself looking forward to it. It was a good place, despite the people.
That's not what the
It
subtitle
was
said.
everything Elbereth could have been.
We're in a rapid. I got that from the speed. Let's hope that was the way we wanted to go. I believe it was. Oh, and to answer your question, Saren, I cannot leave the current. I can press G for us to go onto autopilot, you know, if I wanted to. But I don't. Because this feels very nice. Remember, didn't hop it down, he landed his boat. Tried to. Or else he wasn't able to return. I suspect Master Rember attempted to detonate himself off the surface of the moon. No, we're not through it yet. The movement on this does feel lovely. I wonder why Rember didn't use a hopper to land on that moon. Landing his ship must have been almost impossible. Here we are in the wires. Is he a devout believer in the Great Loop, perhaps? That's probably Six talking, isn't it? The Loopists believe that hoppering is like throwing oneself into a river. It is intended for the dead. It removes part of the soul. Camera control. Camera control? I hope they want this statue back. Oh, okay, the camera control was just saying, yeah, get out. It's Maerzi, a farming moon. Maybe they want their figurine back? Let's go and find the one person who'll talk to me on this moon.
The soft, wet wind of Maerzi hadn't seemed gentle before. I could see it now. Maybe Rember really had liked this place.
Camera control? Any chance? Yeah, here we are. It's definitely her, isn't it? Definitely. The quality of carving is poor, but there are unmistakable details. Looking for a Maerzi sail, then? Did they live on that Hermitage moon? Or did Rember take the statue with him and leave it there? It is unlikely they sail, mistress. Moons in the Protectorate are mostly without boats of their own.
I had the clay figurine with me, in my bag, wrapped up safely in a cloth.
I wonder if they can tell me what it was doing out there. Weird fade cut there.
Everything on Maerzi was as we'd left it. The flowers still bloomed. The water still bubbled.
Greetings once more, stranger. Tell us quickly, did you find your man? I found the remains of his ship. Fire in the sky. I'm sorry for your loss. Do you know what he was doing out there? No. He visited us for a time and then he left. He did not say his proper farewells. What do you mean by that? It's best left well alone, I think. I'm here about something else anyway. I brought you something. Kibanya, where did you find this? On a distant moon by a ruined house. In the middle of a hurricane. This is a hermit's effigy. Given to a hermit when they go out alone, to remind them of the place that gave them birth. What's here? She opens. Why did we never notice that? Did you see inside? There's an inscription. There's a few words in this one. See what happens when you actually go and give people their stuff back? Sometimes you learn more about the stuff. And more importantly, people have their stuff back. There's not enough here for me to guess the rest. I have to hope I see these sequences again. I could still change my mind, but Waters as nonsense. What, can you read it? A child could. This word to separate. Did we just never ask the locals what things meant? Again, this is so... This is a very real thing in archaeology and linguistics. Is just when you try and do everything from first principles and don't just ask the locals. Because of many things, all of which are racism. And this to connect. Yeah, so this is like together, just like jointedness is radical. Thank you. We'll put Capenia back in the well shrine. She prefers the damp. She's been on a long journey, I think. Wait, something fell out. It's here in the grass. It's not part of the figurine? No. It is quite evident, mistress. That is a Rebeski foil. What is a Rebeski foil? You have never seen the internals of a robot, then? Sure I have, but they weren't labelled. Oh my. A Rebeski foil is a small scrap of metal inscribed with enormous detail, like one of your fingerprints. Foil is yours if you want it, Ioxian. I hope you find it of value. Good faith to you, good lady. We did a nice thing and we got something from it. So did Remba hide the Rebeski foil inside the Maesian statue? He left it on that rocky moon to be found, and sent the brooch to Mayari to lead her on a trail to find it. Maybe it's connected to the last Emperor's body. But maybe it isn't. But if that was Remba's plan, mistress, why not simply send the foil? We need to find out what's on this foil. Elbereth, then. Elbereth, then. Yeah, so... now we know all the bits for this, we may as well put them in. Waters divide us, something join us. I mean, that's got to be and. I mean, yeah, it could also be who for a given value of that relative pronoun, but I'm really feeling more like and. So waters divide us and join us. Which makes sense. Was that an inscription on the well? I'm learning so many things. It has been mostly scratched away. Holy water. So that's verb with go. Of and with seem to be basically the same concept. But this is not of go. At least I believe that's negation. This is an adjective and it means... Ah, right, this might not be abstract concrete. This might not be concrete rather than abstract, as I was saying. Maybe it's about placement. Maybe that means up. Because on being of up would make sense. Or like with up. And like iconically it would make sense as it being up or over or above. So adjective not up would be below. So this is a noun. It is... Now, is that abstract or is that like low or downward? Is that the earth? I mean, then that would... Treasures being earth stars would be a fairly reasonable kenning, and earth place not go makes sense to bury. Holy water from? I mean, it doesn't have a class marker, which makes me suggest it's just like a particle, like a grammatical word. And I could see, in a certain sense, a negation of with being from. Because if this whole thing means, like, together with, like, it doesn't follow. Like, that could be away from. That makes sense. Holy water from below the earth. That will do for now. Gotta get all the inscriptions so that you can learn all your words of ancient. A touching scene, mistress. Time to depart, mistress. Yes, it is. Let's get out of here. Leave the inn. This way, mistress. And so we left the surface of Mayazi, the farming moon. Well, the nightingale, we should sail to Iox and tell Mayari what we've seen. Or should we? I'm sure she wants to see the crown. Or should we? Because we have multiple leads. The foil, mistress. I do not immediately recognise where it was produced. It was on the room moon so long, I suppose. It was. But with closer study, I may be able to place it. I will triangulate the origin of the foil as best I can, mistress. Right. Anything else I can do in here? Oh, there's something here. Oh, it's the rope and the nebula. Look out there. It seems to go on forever. Mistress? What are the rivers 6? Flows of oxygen, hydrogen, ice. Their velocity keeps them coherent. They are just rivers in space. So why do the rivers wind? Why aren't they straight? I cannot be sure, mistress. Why does water swirl when mixed with wine? Evidently it is most mysterious. Like I say, the civilization does not have a particular respect for inquiry. And the robe Janiki hid. I wonder if we'll ever know what was so special about this robe. The fabric appears to be of a significant age. Is it the kind of robe that you would need a brooch to hold it? Indeed it is, mistress. I would go so far as to say I can detect the pinholes, mistress. Ah. So that brooch you sent my Ari is presumably from that. Oh, we can have a sleep. I'm gonna rest, Sex. Very good, mistress. I believe I can handle the ship. Oh, this is just putting it on autopilot. To Elbereth, perhaps? To Elbereth. Yes, mistress. Is this just going to fast travel us there? Yes, it is. Elbereth. I could show the crown to Oroi. Also, there's this foil.
We landed in the dust, outside the great walls of Elbereth. No one looked up to watch us arrive. The people here only ever look down.
So this is Elbereth. This was your home. This is my home. I have seen little but Iox, mistress. This is not like there. No, it's not. But you know what? I think we should find out exactly in what way Elbereth is not like Iox next time, because I should be going, because we have, you know, run out of time. This game is really cool. That was like the one thing I really remembered about it, was that it was really cool, and turns out past me was correct. It's really cool. So, yeah. Time for a wrap-up, I think. Thanks, everybody who's watched. Thanks if you stayed to the end, means a lot. If you've been watching this, you know where to find me, but just in case, this is twitch.tv/Sextant, that's SERASENT, the House of Hubris. And I'm streaming every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 2 PM British time, and I will be carrying on with Heaven's Vault until we finish this. And then moving on to something else. There's always more. There's a lot of games, it turns out. I know, right? Yeah. If you want to be notified when I am live, then you can go to the... Yeah, you can... Wow, words. You can follow me on Twitch, is my point. It doesn't cost you anything, drives my numbers up, and lets you get notified whenever I'm around doing things. And if you manage to miss any of those things, the VODs are on my Twitch for 8 weeks after broadcast, or you can go to my YouTube, which is down... Where is it now that I'm on this side? Like... It's over there, I think. Ish. It says VOD archive. It's a link. It speaks for itself. It's which is youtube.com/user/rf191999, where they've got all of my VODs going back to the very start of my channel, which is almost a year now. On which note, as well as my regular schedule, this Sunday, that is the 12th of December, I will be doing what I'm calling very catchily 12-12-12-12. The 12th of the 12th, I will be running for 12 hours from noon till midnight GMT, and have the schedule of that, which I still haven't put a camera feed on, but here it is. So we've got a puzzle box I'll be solving, we've got Just Shapes and Beats, we've got Jackbox, we've got me playing miscellaneous other games and chilling out with you all, and it should be a lot of fun. So that is 12-12-12-12 on the 12th of the 12th from 12 to 12, again GMT, because that's where I live. If you think me taking on projects like that is worth your money, then you can, of course, cheer or subscribe on the Twitch, but you very much don't have to. Just turn up, be chill, have fun, hang out, and it's all good. That's all we really need. Also, what else? If you want any more information on upcoming events, or stream notifications, or random memes, or my thoughts on politics, you can check out my Twitter at Waruce, that's W-A-R-U-C-E. And I think that is everything, because the thing I usually advertise here has finished. Yes, I really don't need more things to advertise when I've got this 12-hour stream coming up. I will see you all on Saturday if you're here for more Heaven's Vault, or on Sunday if you're here for the big event. Cool. Love you all, and I will see you again later. Bye.